Can anyone text Ron and see if he can hear us to unmute himself?
Yeah, I will.
Just did. You just did.
Okay. Oh, thanks.
Everybody text them.
Yeah.
Thank you. Ron, are you there?
Gab?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, it keeps telling me I can't do it, that you have to do it. I must have pushed star 6 97,000 times. No, it keeps telling me I can't do it, that you have to
I'm
do
here
it.
now, so I don't know why it was
I must
not
have
letting you. So
Well,
weird.
I'm here.
Thank you. All
Not a problem.
right, it's 7, Trina. So I'm gonna start the recording.
Okay. I'm ready. You good?
Yep.
Okay. Good evening. The August 17th, 2020 meeting of the Milltown Borough Council will now come to order. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Council President Farkas,
Here.
Councilman Dixon,
Here.
Councilman Legati,
Here.
Councilwoman Neubauer,
Here.
Councilman Peretti,
Here.
Councilman Zambrana.
Here.
Mayor, we have 6 present.
Thank you. Will the clerk please read the meeting statement?
Let the minutes reflect that
First
adequate
star
notice of the holding of this regular business
97,000
meeting of the Borough Council
No,
was
it keeps
provided by
telling
the
me I
adoption of
can't do it, that
resolution.
you have to
I'm
do
here
it.
now, so I don't know why it was
I must
not
have
letting
put-
you. Newspapers, Home News
So,
Tribune, and
I'm
Sterling
here.
Publishing Company on January 9, 2020. Re-notice of access to meeting via teleconference was submitted on July 9th. Public participation in this meeting will be permitted during public hearings and after the agenda of scheduled matters has been completed. When public comments are open, participants will be given instructions for how to participate.
Thank you. Now we will have a moment of silence, followed by a salute to our flag, which is behind me and also behind Councilman Legati. So we'll start with a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to
To the flag
the United
of the
States
United
of America
States of America.
and to the republic
For
which it stands,
which it stands.
one nation,
One nation.
under God,
Under God.
indivisible, with liberty and
Liberty
justice
and
for all.
justice for all.
Next on the agenda, we have an Eagle Scout presentation by Mr. Billy Yatsko.
Yes.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Want your camera on? Did you turn his camera on too?
No, participants aren't supposed to be on camera. It should just be the council and professionals, please.
Okay. Okay. Go ahead, Billy. Thanks.
All right, so tonight I've come to this meeting to present my project proposal to work on the pool, which is going to be selecting a 20-foot by 40-foot area, removing the existing horseshoe pits, digging out that 20-foot by 40-foot area, digging it 4 inches deep, filling it with clay sand, and then putting in 2 sets of cornhole games.
Anything else?
Nope,
Or
that's it.
Oh, great. Thanks. Does the council have any questions?
Close that and go out the back.
I'm sorry. Was somebody asking a question? I couldn't really hear. Or was that just background noise?
I think that was background noise, but
Okay.
Billy, do you have funds available for this, or will you be raising funds yourself?
I'm going to be fundraising soon. Well, hopefully.
And how long do you think that project will take?
The project in total should take around 4 to 6 weekends, hoping that we get around 5 to 6 people each weekend.
Oh, great. Okay. Well, anybody else? If not, we thank you very much for a great idea and wanting to help the borough and the pool specifically. In that case, we will move on to the next item on our agenda, which is a public hearing on the municipal budget. The public, I would ask the clerk to read the resolution 20-136 by title.
Resolution authorizing the reading of the 2020 budget by title only.
You've heard the reading of this resolution. What is your pleasure?
Move that the resolution be adopted.
Second it.
I have a motion by Council President Farkas, second by Councilman Dixon. Any discussion? And we're going to open, is it now we're opening it for comments, Gabriella?
We actually need to do a roll call on that resolution.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. So will the clerk please call the roll?
Council President Farkas?
Aye.
Councilman Dixon?
Aye.
Councilman Legati?
Aye.
Councilwoman Newbauer?
Aye.
Councilman Peretti?
Aye.
Councilman Zambrana?
Aye.
Mayor, we have 6 ayes to read by the title.
Thank you. Now we can open it up for public comments on the resolution or the ordinance.
Yeah, we should read
Oh, do you want me to read? Sorry, let me read it. Okay, sorry.
and then do and then a motion and then open it
Okay,
the same way we'd act on an ordinance.
okay. So hold on one second. I got to get to my part that I read. So if any member of the public wishes to speak, please follow the instructions given by the clerk and say your name and address for the record. The comments will be limited to this 20-136.
Yes. So if you'd like to make a comment on the budget, you can raise your hand. If you're calling in by a phone number, you can press *9. If you're using your computer on a Mac, you can press Option Y, or from your PC, Alt Y, or in the app or computer URL, you can choose the raise hand option through the ellipses. And once your hand is raised, we will unmute you to speak to council. And we will again advise no video for attendees, please. Okay. I have Sally Miller. You are unmuted.
Hi everyone. Sally Miller, 8 Harkins Road. First of all, I just want to thank Councilman. Well, there was a couple of people to thank for, mostly Councilman Zambrana for working with Gwen and myself the last minute. I haven't had a minute to actually look over the details. I know there were $1.6 million of others. So I think that, it's really hard to receive that and just, ask any questions about that. But, I guess what I really want to understand with everything that's been going on with the pandemic and the budget going forward, it seems that you guys the budget starts, I believe, July 1st and goes through the following year. When do you actually start working on the following year so we can just sort of get on the same page as far as residents to get a clear understanding?
Phil? Jeanette?
Madam Mayor, would you like me to answer that? Would you like our BA
Yes.
to answer that?
Well, either. Whoever has, I guess maybe both of you can chime in.
Jeanette, would you like to answer that question?
Sure.
Thank you.
So the municipal budget, actually, we're a calendar year. So we're January through December. The state fiscal year is July 1st through June 30th, which has to do with our tax rate, but not our actual budget cycle. So this budget, because of the pandemic and all of the unknowns, clearly is getting adopted very late in the year. Usually it's done within, by April, May, the latest. Mm-hmm. So once this budget is closed, we within the next month or so, we would start to work on the 2021 budget.
So the follow-up question with that then, and thank you for the response. From what I understand, a proper audit, an outside audit, hasn't been done since 2018. So what is the council going to do to sort of get us all up to the same page with a proper audit so we can have true clarity as to what's really been going on the last 2 years?
So the 2018 budget was completed.
Audit.
And right now, I'm sorry?
I think there's audits that have to outside audits.
Sorry, I misspoke. The 2018 audit was complete.
Right.
And the 2019 audit is being completed now.
Perfect. When will that be available for us to review?
The 2018 audit is on the website. And once the 2019 audit is complete and goes through all of the required approval processes, that will also be placed on the website. And it also is basically, I don't want to say presented at a meeting, but the approval process will go through a meeting of the governing body.
When will it be accessible to the residents?
When it's complete. So I don't have a completion date at this point in time.
Thank you.
And Jeanette, just to clarify, so that this budget that they're voting on this evening was started to develop in last year, right? In 2019?
The budget, yes. So the budget, the process actually started around October of 2019.
Right.
But because of the current environment,
right,
it was held back for numerous reasons because we weren't sure what exactly was going to happen. But the process actually started in October.
Right. And Mr. Hodulek, thanks for joining. Feel free to chime in anytime. That's our borough auditor.
Sally, your hand is still raised. Are you finished with your question?
Yes, I was. Thank you, Jeanette.
You're welcome.
Okay, next I have Courtney Williams.
18 Clay Street.
Courtney, can you repeat your address? I didn't hear you.
Yes, 318 Clay Street.
Thank you.
No problem. First of all, thank you for taking my question. I feel like this question is kind of all encompassing of like a bigger question and bigger conversation that we've all been having around town like culture, town change, what we can all do to improve our own opinions, our own biases, and then to bring that back into the community. And so I'm wondering if the council plans to allocate any money towards, trainings that, promote empathy, inclusion, bias, anti-bias trainings, on large scale so that as a community we can, influence change in our town, from the top down.
Who wants to take that, or do you want me to take it?
Trina, I'm not sure about, this is Councilman Legati. I'm not sure about the rest of the borough, but there is a budgeted item within the police budget process that they have, they conduct the training in those particular areas on an every year basis. So that there is some money budgeted for the police department to do that. And I got to be honest, I don't know if there's money budgeted for any other part of the borough workers or anything like that. But I can say that the police department does get all of that training every year.
Yeah, so I'm definitely aware of the police trainings that occur, but I guess I'm more so speaking as, open forums, public access to this other than providing it to police. I think it might be considered to be a community resource rather than an itemized kind of training for police. So almost in the sense of town facilitators, open forums, putting money towards community relations on a larger scale other than the police item budget.
So, Courtney, I will chime in and say that we're going to be discussing tonight the Human Relations Committee, the ordinance for that we discussed, and so that would be something that if that committee wanted to suggest platforms for something like that, then they could be advisory to the council for that. I believe that this budget was developed, earlier in the year. And, I'm not aware of any specific line items for any training, but that would be something that going forward, if the group felt strongly about it, they could come back and advise the council of potential classes, training that they think would behoove residents and or people that are working in the borough.
Okay, thank you.
Courtney, does that conclude your questions?
Yes, that ends my question. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And next I have, it just shows up as owner intel. Owner intel, I'm making it, there you go.
If you'd like to speak, just go ahead and say your name and address for the record. No?
They are unmuted. Oh, now they're muted. Now they're unmuted. Owner Intel, are you?
Do you have a question? I guess not.
Okay, I'm going to mute them and lower their hand. And I have, Sally Miller has raised her hand again. So I'm going to unmute Miss Miller. Miss Miller, you're unmuted.
I just have a quick follow-up question to the mayor about what was just expressed about future funding. I guess my concern is that, or it's not really a concern, but it's just really about timing as far as the HRC committee being formed and not sure what funding may or may not be available or asked, or is it possible to put in a particular amount of money or a budget around future HRC projects in general so that we can confirm that the town is committed to this type of inclusivity and diversity and really taking a stand behind what the HRC committee is being formed for?
So, Sally, I will say that each committee has a certain, I'm not sure, Jeanette, maybe you can answer this. Has a certain amount that could potentially be tapped into. I don't know if it's a fixed amount. I think it depends on the committee. There's other committees that have done fundraising. We used to have the Milltown Municipal Alliance. So there's various ways to make sure that the committees that are within the borough are funded to do what they want to do. I don't think we have a specific amount set for each one, but it's something that we have to, and especially with a new one, we have to sort of wait and see where we're going and what we want to do with it. So we're not going to hold funds in case type of situation.
But Mayor, you're very committed to forming this HRC committee. So we just want to make sure that the committee is formed within a reasonable amount of time. And that if there is a possibility of it needing funding or that we just want to make sure, at least I do, I know others here want to make sure that that there is a commitment of time so that if there is a budget that's needed, that there is sort of something going on where it's possible, you know what I mean? So that there's a commitment with a time frame around it.
Well, there is a time frame, as we discussed last time, and there's a time frame that we'll discuss this evening. So it was first reading this evening. That it's an ordinance. So there's an ordinance to create this committee. So there's a first reading this evening. Then at our next meeting, there will be a second reading, and that's the time frame where it will be the committee will be created. After that, we will do, and you know, we're going to get into this, but after that, that's when we can have membership. So we have to follow the process to develop this as an ordinance. And then once it's developed, then we're almost, you know, going into the next year, we'll have a better idea of what's going on with each committee and any resources that they may or may not need from the borough.
So is your timing based on what you're just responding? And thank you, I'm clear now on that. So basically you're saying that there's not necessarily any set budget within the budget for the HRC community or communities or committees that are formed as part of a branch of the government.
That's correct.
Okay. Gotcha. Thank you.
All right. Okay, Sally, I'm gonna lower your hand. I don't have any other raised hands. So again, if you'd like to make a comment, the instructions are on the screen, or on your phone, you can press *9 if you have a comment on the budget. Mayor, I don't see any more raised hands.
Okay, thank you. Seeing no more questions, we will close the audience comments on the municipal budget, and now we will move into, excuse me while I get out of this screen, the, will the clerk please read resolution 20-137, or ordinance?
Adopting budget resolution.
Okay. You've heard the reading of this resolution. What is your pleasure?
Make a motion that this resolution be adopted.
Second.
I have a motion by Councilman Ligotti, second by Councilwoman Neubauer. Any discussion? Okay. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Council President Farkas?
Aye.
Councilman Dixon?
Aye.
Councilman Ligotti?
Aye.
Councilwoman Neubauer?
Aye.
Councilman Peretti?
Aye.
Councilman Zambrano?
Aye.
Mayor, we have 6 ayes.
So moved. Thank you. Next, we will move on to the reading of the ordinances. Will the clerk please read ordinance 20-1487 by title only?
An ordinance authorizing the purchase of certain real property, a portion of 51 Janet Court, Block 69, Lot 19.01 by the Borough of Milltown.
You've heard the reading of this ordinance. What is your pleasure?
Move that this ordinance be adopted.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilman Dixon, second by Councilman Ligotti. Any discussion? Will the clerk please call the roll?
Trina, we just have to open it up for public comment as well.
Oh, sorry. Yes. Okay. So once again, we're going to ask for comments from the audience on this resolution only. If a member of the public wishes to speak on this ordinance, please say your name and address for the record and follow the instructions from the clerk to raise your hand and comment.
So again, if you'd like to make a comment, the share screen is still up. You can press *9 from your phone, Option Y or Alt Y from your computer, or choose the raise hand in your phone app or on the computer URL app. I'll just give you a moment to option. Mayor, I don't have any raised hands.
Okay, thank you. Seeing no questions, we'll ask the clerk to please call the roll.
Council President Farkas?
Aye.
Councilman Dixon,
Aye.
Councilman Legati,
Aye.
Councilwoman Newbauer,
Aye.
Councilman Peretti,
Aye.
Councilman Zambrana.
Aye.
Mayor, we have 6 ayes.
So moved. Thank you. Next, we will the clerk please read ordinance 20-1488 by title?
Calendar year 2020 ordinance to exceed the municipal budget appropriation limits and to establish a cap bank at NJSA 40A:4-45.14.
You've heard the reading of this ordinance. What is your pleasure?
Make a motion that the ordinance be adopted on second and final reading and be published according to law.
Seconded.
We have a motion by Councilman Legati, second by Councilman Peretti. Once again, we will ask for audience comments on this. If any member of the public wishes to speak, please say your name and address for the record and follow the instructions to raise your hand or speak.
So again, the instructions from your phone, you can press *9. From your Mac or PC, you can press Option Y or Alt Y. From the phone app, you can click raise hand, and also on the computer app, you can click raise hand. We do have an audience comment. The one, Dawn Milburn.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Hello, Dawn Milburn, 12 Desmond Avenue. Is it too late? I'm a little slow picking up on finding that hand raised for 51 Janet Court. Is it too late to ask a question about that?
About the budget?
No, I just was going to question about what I see that you're buying a property on Janet Court. I was just going to ask a question about what that property was, but I missed it.
Gabriella, can we go back or no?
I would actually ask Mr. Vignola on that one, since we already did pass it.
I mean, it's not going to be part of the hearing on it, but I mean, if she wants to ask a question and you want to answer a question, frankly, it's your meeting. You can entertain the question, or you can decide that we've had the hearing. Or you can ask Ms. Milburn to wait until the public comment section at the end and ask her question then. However you want to play it.
Dawn, whatever you prefer. Do you want to ask now, or do you want to wait till later?
I was just slow to raise hand. Well, if you can answer the question now quickly, because I'm a slow bee. I just wondered why the borough was buying a property on Janet Court. If you could share that with us.
Who wants to take that question?
I'll be happy to do that, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. This is our borough engineer, Mike McClellan. Dawn.
Hello, Mr. McClellan. How are you?
I'm fine. Thank you very much. Basically, some time ago, we installed a storm sewer through this property, and what we're doing here is finalizing the easement acquisition. So basically an easement slash property so that the pipe that we installed can situate in public property, where if we have to maintain it, it can be maintained. So this property runs from the end of Wilson Avenue down to Janet Court, and there's a pipe installed in that easement that we put in some time ago, and this is basically memorializing that property for future use by the borough.
So you actually bought the entire home and the land, or just
just a 25-foot section by.
Okay, thank you. That's all. Thank you very much.
It's more like an easement.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Dawn. Any other questions about the cap bank ordinance?
I do not have any more raised hands.
Okay. Seeing no more questions, I will close audience comments and ask the clerk to please call the roll.
Council President Farkas?
Aye.
Councilman Dixon?
Aye.
Councilman Legati?
Aye.
Councilwoman Newbauer?
Aye.
Councilman Peretti?
Aye.
Councilman Zambrana?
Aye.
Mayor, we have 6 ayes.
Move. Thank you. Next on the agenda, we will move on to comments from the audience on resolutions. If you'd like to speak, give your name and address for the record. These comments are limited to resolutions listed on the agenda. So please follow the same instructions if you'd like to raise your hand and ask any questions about the resolution.
So again, the instructions from your phone, you can press *9. From your Mac or PC, you can press Option Y or Alt Y. You can use the raise hand button in your phone app or on the computer. I do have a raised hand. For Courtney Williams.
Hi, all again. I was just wondering if maybe you can just go into detail about a few resolutions, mainly authorizing certain personnel actions for police, authorizing certain personnel actions for Department of Public Works, and a self-examination of budget resolution 2020 municipal budget. And it's just clarity on all of those.
Okay, who would like to take that?
Councilman Dixon.
Okay.
The hiring with the police department and with DPW, both is not in addition to, it's because people have left or retired. And we are just filling that position, an existing position to maintain the quality of workers that we have there.
Okay, perfect. That just wasn't clear. It's perfect. Okay.
As far as the budget resolution is concerned, the state requires or allows municipalities to, as long as they meet certain criteria, to basically review their own budgets before adopting. And once every 3 years, the state will then do the reviewing. So this was a year where Milltown was able to review its own budget. And you have to pass a resolution to allow that, basically to certify that you have met the criteria.
Okay, and then what would be the year, what would be the year that we would expect the state to review our own town budget?
I would expect it to, if it runs the normal course, to be next year.
Okay. That would be the end of my questions.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
I do not have anyone else's hands raised at this time.
Okay. Seeing no more hands raised, we will close audience comments and move on to the bill list. Will the clerk please read the bill resolution? Let me get the number, 20-138.
Authorizing the payment of bills, claims, and statements against the Borough of Milltown in the total amount of $7,784,906.71.
You've heard the reading of this resolution. What is your pleasure?
Move that this resolution be adopted.
Second.
I have a motion by Councilman Dixon, second by Councilman Ligotti. Any discussion? Will the clerk please call the roll?
Council President Farkas?
Aye.
Councilman Dixon?
Aye.
Councilman Ligotti?
Aye.
Councilwoman Neubauer?
Aye.
Councilman Peretti?
Aye.
Councilman Zambrana?
Aye.
Mayor, we have 6 ayes.
Thank you. So moved. Next, we have our consent resolution. A consent resolution has been prepared to cover the resolutions listed on the agenda. If any member of the council wants any resolution acted upon individually, please give me the resolution number and it will be pulled from the consent resolution.
Councilman Dixon, please pull 20145.
145. Okay. Anyone, anything else? Okay. Will the clerk please read consent resolution which covers the resolutions listed on the agenda with the exception of 20-145?
Whereas pursuant to the rules of council, the council may establish a consent agenda for any regular or special meeting. And whereas the Borough Clerk has posted a consent agenda for this meeting, now therefore be it resolved by the Mayor and Borough Council of the Borough of Milltown, County of Middlesex, State of New Jersey, that the consent agenda previously prepared by the Borough Clerk be approved without the necessity of having the individual resolutions read by the Borough Clerk.
You've heard the reading of this resolution. What is your pleasure?
Make a motion that this resolution be adopted.
Second.
I have a motion by Councilman Legati, second by Councilman Peretti. Any discussion? Will the clerk please call the roll?
Council President Farkas?
Aye.
Councilman Dixon?
Aye.
Councilman Legati?
Aye.
Councilwoman Newbauer?
Aye.
Councilman Peretti?
Aye.
Councilman Zambrana?
Aye.
Mayor, we have 6 ayes.
So moved. Thank you. Will the clerk please read resolution number 20-145 by title?
Resolution granting application for club license renewal for Joyce Kilmer, post number 25, doing business as American Legion, license number 1212-31-007-001 for 2020-2021 license term.
You've heard the reading of this resolution. What is your pleasure?
Motion is,
Wait for somebody else. Yeah, okay, go ahead.
make a motion this resolution be adopted.
Second?
I have a motion by Councilman Legati, second by Council President Farkas. Any discussion?
Yes, Madam Mayor. Due to my position with the American Legion, I have to recuse myself from this vote, and that is why I pulled it.
Great.
Thank
you. Okay, will the clerk please call the roll?
Council President Farkas?
Aye.
Councilman Dixon?
Recuse.
Councilman Legati?
Aye.
Councilwoman Newbauer?
Aye.
Councilman Peretti?
Aye.
Councilman Zambrana?
Aye.
Mayor, we have 5 ayes and 1 abstention.
So moved. Thank you. Next, we will move on to reports of committees. First, we have the Department of Finance, Administration, and Planning. Councilman Phil Zambrana.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I have no report this evening. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have the Department of Public Safety, Councilman Nick Legati.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. My first report tonight is from Chief Brian Kennelly, the August 3rd, 2020 monthly report. To our residents, from Chief Brian Kennelly. The Milltown Police Department has returned to our normal work schedule. Proudly, our mission to provide professional and effective law enforcement services to our community during these trying times was not compromised. We will continue proactive patrols, community outreach, and provide continuous support to our residents as needed. The Milltown Police Department is up to date with all mandated training requirements and police policies. I would like to say thank you again to Milltown's medical professionals and first responders for their dedicated services. I also want to thank our residents for their cooperation and generous donations of food and personal protective equipment. I wish all of our residents to stay well both mentally and physically, and to our residents who are ill, get well soon. Please continue to report non-emergency type calls to 732-828-1100. Police will determine a necessary response. Walk-in complaints are discouraged. Emergency and life-threatening calls, please use 911. We have noticed many children riding bikes without helmets. We certainly encourage activity. However, safety must come first. Parents and guardians are reminded that under New Jersey state law, children under 17 years of age are required to wear a helmet. Residents are reminded to report any concerns and/or complaints by using the official borough website or by calling the police department directly. The Milltown Police Department does not monitor and will not react to respond or comment on complaints posted on any third-party social media sites. Enjoy your summer. Sincerely, Chief Brian Kennelly. My next report is from the Milltown Fire Department, month-end report, July 2020. Total number of fire calls, 19. Total number training details, 2. Total number work details, 4. Total number meeting details, 2. Total number miscellaneous details, 2, for a total incidents for the month of 29. The department is following operating guidelines provided by the New Jersey Division of Fire Safety in order to maintain a safe environment during COVID-19 crisis. In-person training has resumed and limited capacity following all guidelines set forth by the CDC and the New Jersey Division of Fire Safety. Members are excited to begin and operate out of the new building. The department will begin moving equipment into the new firehouse upon completion of the installation of breathing air compressor system. Annual hose pressure testing, aerial and ground ladder certification, and fire pump flow testing has been scheduled and will take place over the next 2 weekends in August. And that completes my report, Madam Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, Nick. And thanks to the police and fire department and the rescue squad as well for all their hard work throughout the pandemic. It's appreciated. Next, we have Department of Utilities, Council President Randy Farkas.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The report is for the month of July 2020. For the month of July, the Utility Department has did the following work: 54 daily station checks, 32 substation checks, 35 plus utility markouts. Water samples. Disinfectant residual testing was performed on July 1st, 8th, and 15th. Were satisfactory. For the electric utility, various electric meters were replaced. 11 street lights were repaired at the following locations: 146 Washington Avenue, the corner of Birch and Benhart, 32 Bruce Court, 9 Harkins Road, 1 Mapleshade Road, 36 Durst Drive, 42 Durst Drive, 82 Borough Avenue, 49 Highland Drive, 40 Columbia Avenue, and 44 Columbia. A July storm knocked out power to roughly 60 homes and several businesses. Homes on Cortlandt Street and Highland Drive had an outage due to a very large branch falling into the secondary distribution wires, which took out a transformer fuse. The tree branches were removed and the wires had to be repaired. 2 homes also had service drops torn out due to falling branches and were repaired. Homes on Albert Avenue and Colthaw saw an outage due to a lightning strike on Albert Avenue and Hill Street, which severely damaged a tree and blew out a primary distribution insulator. Repairs were made and power restored. An outage was reported at Henry Plaza and a section of Ford Avenue. A branch had fallen into the primary wires and caused several upstream fuses to blow, resulting in a partial power situation. A low voltage bushing was replaced at one of our substation transformers. Ongoing maintenance of the overhead wiring has resumed and several deficiencies repaired. Several spans of secondary wiring were retensioned. Tree trimming was performed around primary and secondary wires in several locations. Station maintenance was performed. For the water department, as a result of lead exceedances that have occurred over the past several years, the DEP has mandated that Milltown Borough install an orthophosphate treatment system. Our water operator, in conjunction with CME Engineering, is working to design a system which will be installed at our Elkins Lane pumping station. Curb stops were located for various customers. A fire hydrant was rebuilt on Janet Court. The water tower was refilled and a sample has been sent to the lab for testing. As always, the department works hand in hand with the utility billing department to ensure accurate utility charges. We troubleshoot faulty meters and work very hard to resolve any billing issues that may occur. A reminder to all residents, If you have a water, sewer, or electric emergency, you can call Milltown Police Dispatch at 732-828-2100, extension 0, for service at any time. For non-emergency situations like reporting a street light out or a leaking fire hydrant, you can call the utility office at 732-828-2100, extension 137. Or you can now report non-emergency problems on the Borough website. If you have a question about water or electric service or your water or electric bill, please call 732-828-2100, extension 183. And that, Madam Mayor, completes the utility report.
Thank you. And thank you to the Department of Utilities. I know Milltown was very fortunate to get their power back on much sooner than a lot of our neighboring towns. So we're thankful for the work that they did to prepare and throughout the storm.
Yes,
one other thing I would ask about is about the lead. I know that we've had meetings over last year and earlier this year. Our water operator gave a really nice presentation on the orthophosphate and what that would mean to add it to our system. So I'm wondering if from Mr. McCullough from CME, if we could get a copy of that PowerPoint slide to post on our website.
Yes, Mayor, we'd be happy to provide that to you. No problem at all.
Thank you. Just so when people have questions, it's been discussed for Mike, and you probably know about a couple of years now that this possibility was looming, and so we did have a couple of meetings about it. But if people you don't recall or weren't there, we can provide the information that was given to the folks at that meeting.
Okay, we'd be happy to.
Great. Thank you. Randy, did you have something else to say?
The only other thing I was going to say is I believe Mr. McClellan might have something else to say about the orthophosphate in his report.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Even better. Okay. Yeah. Good. Sorry, Mike. Didn't mean to steal your
That's okay,
thunder.
Mayor. That's quite okay.
Next, we have a report from the Department of Public Works and Recycling, Councilwoman Anna Newbauer.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Along with all regular curbside collections, Public Works has the following to report. A dead-end sign was installed at the end of Garver near Cortland Ave. No smoking and no idling signs have been installed at various locations throughout the borough. The kitchen at the senior center has been painted. There's been line painting of crosswalks and stop bars throughout the town, and this will be ongoing. Street sweeping is ongoing. There was a downed tree that was removed from Granite Court Park. A water main break was repaired alongside with the utility department at Scott and Lafayette. The Department of Public Works cleaned up brush, debris, and dead trees at the Main Street Firehouse and the Milltown Historical Society property, and that will also be ongoing. The Department of Public Works assisted utilities on July 23rd with repairing power outages. And all catch basins were cleaned and lids were cleared to prevent road flooding on August 3rd in preparation for the impending storm. During and after the August 4th storm, the DPW completed the following. They handled multiple downed trees, cleared blocked roadways, kept catch basins clear, assisted utilities with power outages and downed wires, and jetted a sewer main on Pinewood Drive. As for reminders, we have the following. During the second full week of October, there will be concrete pickup. Leaf bags will be announced when they are available in the fall. And please visit milltownnj.org and click on the quick link, Trash and Recycling, to see all schedules. Public Works Supervisor Ralph J. Sinowski would like to commend Henry Coates from Troop 33 on his Eagle Scout project that restored the gazebo and surrounding area at Gloria Bradford Park. His project will benefit the area and will be enjoyed by all residents of the town. And I'd just like to second both that and also great work to the utilities and the DPW for all of their work during this storm. Additionally, I actually have a secondary report from the Cable TV Committee. It's real brief, it's just an announcement. The candidates forum will take place virtually on Wednesday, October 14th, 2020 at 7 p.m. If you have a question that you would like to have asked during the forum, please submit it in a sealed envelope to the Borough Clerk's office. And that concludes my 2 reports.
Thank you. And I would like to second and third the thanking of the Department of Public Works for helping out with utilities on the storm, and getting all prepared really helped a lot. And also just to thank them for all of their hard work. I know that they've had more to collect, and it's been really hot, and doing the tree work and everything else throughout the not the best of conditions is greatly appreciated. So thanks to all of the Department of Public Works and the Utilities Department too. Next, we have the Department of Environmental, Health, and Social Services, Councilman Ron Dixon.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Most of the committees are meeting later this month. Therefore, the reports obtained from those meetings will be broadcast at next month's meeting. So currently, I have no report.
Okay, thank you. Next, we have Department of Recreation, Councilman James Peretti.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. For recreation, registration is being opened for fall tennis. The start date should be September 18th. The session is 7 weeks with a makeup class on November 11th, if needed. Registration will be open on Community Pass beginning August 24th. The Recreation Department is still currently exploring options for safely opening up additional sports as well. Please keep an eye out for any announcement on the Borough website and on Community Pass. From SAC, the Recreation Committee has met to discuss fall SAC, primarily about if and how we can safely run the program. As we continue these discussions, parents who have previously used the program should expect communication being sent to them very shortly, so we can collect their feedback on expected participation. Thank you in advance for your valued feedback. I do have one extra announcement as well. So in a related note, one of our residents, John Timon, requested the following information to be shared. 2 Facebook groups have recently been created for those looking for additional outdoor activities in and near the town. And they are as follows. The Lawrence Brook Mill Pond Fishing Club, that's one Facebook group, as well as the second one being NJ Kayak Club. I encourage all residents who are interested in those activities to please join via Facebook and reach out to John. Thank you. That concludes my report.
Great. Thank you very much. Next, we will move on to our administrator report, our business administrator, Jeanette Larison.
I have no report tonight, Mayor.
Thank you. Next, we will move on to our engineer report, Mr. Mike McClellan.
Yes, Madam Mayor, thank you very much. Just briefly, I wanted to touch upon the letter we received since your last meeting from the DEP regarding the recent water quality monitoring within the borough. Based upon that monitoring, the DEP is basically, as Council President Fark has indicated, mandating the installation of a corrosion inhibitor on your system, which has, as you know, been discussed at many times. We put together a schedule for implementation, which would require that we provide a schematic design of those improvements by October 16th this year, submit an application to DEP by October 30th, hopefully receive approval by late January 2021, and have construction started and completed by August of this year, August of next year, 2021. Obviously, there's a little bit of float time in there. The DEP didn't mandate it by August next year, but we have a little time beyond it. But we thought this was a very good schedule for the borough to adhere. Obviously, because of the recent results to the testing, there really is an insistence by the DEP for us to install this. The regulations are becoming more stringent than they are now, and they're about to adopt more stringent regulations, which would lower the limits of lead in the water. But right now, this is a schedule which we think can be met, and we recommend that we move forward with this at this time.
Okay. Thank you, Mike. Appreciate it. Next, we will move on to our attorney report, Mr. Peter Vignolo.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Just one item. I know over the last month and change, there's been some question that I received from members of the governing body regarding the ability to install a blue line somewhere on a roadway within the borough. In response to that, I took a look at the regulations regarding the installation of such a line. I discovered that in 2016, there was an inquiry made by Somerset County to the Department of Transportation, Federal Highway Administration. And in response to that, there was an interpretation letter issued by the Federal Highway Administration, which essentially indicated that such a line would not be permitted under their regulations. And their regulations are the Manual on Uniform Traffic Control Devices for Streets and Highways. Big, long title. But essentially what it said was that such a line isn't permitted. Blue marking is reserved by the Federal Highway Administration and the Manual on Uniform Traffic Control Devices for parking spaces for persons with disabilities. So that blue color is a reserved color. Therefore, the direction that the Federal Highway Administration gave was that it can't be used on a roadway or a curbing so that it could somehow confuse the issue. And I guess the big question is, well, what if you did? And the answer to that is provided by the Federal Highway Administration, and failure to comply with the manual can result in A, loss of federal funding, or B, more importantly, loss of tort immunity. So that if someone were to become confused over the markings and there was an accident and the borough had installed that line, someone could claim that the borough wouldn't be capable of being immune from liability for such an accident. So for those reasons, the Federal Highway Administration does not see that as something that should be done on a municipal roadway. So that's what I found out.
Good. Okay. Thanks for checking into
If you guys
that.
need anything else, please let me know, and I'm happy to look into it further.
Does anybody have any questions for any of our professionals? And Mr. Vignolo, you did discuss this with the police and DPW, I assume?
So I shared it with the other departments, yes.
Okay, great. Thank you. Okay, that concludes our reports. Now we will move on to introduction of ordinances. Will the clerk please read ordinance 20-1489 by title?
An ordinance amending the revised general ordinances of the Borough of Milltown to add Chapter 27 fiber optic cables.
You've heard the reading of this ordinance. What is your pleasure?
Nick, you're muted.
I'm so sorry about that. I move that the ordinance be adopted on first reading, published according to law, and that a public hearing be held at the next regularly scheduled council meeting on Monday, September 8th.
14th.
All right?
Or no. What's the date, Gabriella?
September 14th.
September 14th at 7 p.m. in council chambers in Borough Hall.
Second.
I have a motion by Councilman Legati, a second by Council President Farkas. Gabriella, is there comments on this now?
No public comments on this.
Okay, all right. Will any discussion? Will the clerk please call the roll?
Council President Farkas?
Aye.
Councilman Dixon?
Aye.
Councilman Legati?
Aye.
Councilwoman Neubauer?
Aye.
Councilman Peretti?
Aye.
Councilman Zambrana? Councilman Zambrana?
He's still muted.
Aye.
Thank you. Mayor, we have 6 ayes.
Thank you, so moved. Next, will the clerk please read ordinance 20-1490 by title?
An ordinance to amend Chapter 2 Administration, Section 4, Creation of Departments, Offices, and Boards, repeal Chapter 2 Administration, Section 50, Human Relations Commission, and adopt Chapter 2 Administration, Section 50, Human Relations Committee of the revised general ordinances of the Borough of Milltown.
You've heard the reading of this ordinance. What is your pleasure?
I move that the ordinance be adopted on first reading, published according to law, and that a public hearing be held at the next regularly scheduled council meeting on Monday, September 14th at 7 p.m. in council chambers in Borough Hall.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Councilman Legati, second by Councilman Peretti. Any discussion? Will the clerk please call the roll?
Council President Farkas,
Aye.
Councilman Dixon,
You're muted, Ron. There you go.
There we go. Aye.
thank you. Councilman Legati,
Aye.
Councilwoman Newbauer,
Aye.
Councilman Peretti,
Aye.
Councilman Zambrana.
Aye.
Mayor, we have 6 ayes.
So moved. Thank you. Next on the agenda, we will move on to old business. If any member of the council has any old business they'd like to bring before us, please go ahead. Hearing none, I will move on to new business. Does any member of the council have any new business this evening? Hearing none, we will move on to audience comments. As before, if any member of the audience wishes to speak, please give your name and address for the record and follow the clerk's instructions to raise your hand and be heard.
So again, to make a comment, please raise your hand. You can do so by pressing *9 on your phone. You can press Option Y from your Mac or Alt Y from your PC. You can also click Raise Hand in the phone app or choose Raise Hand after the ellipses on the phone app. And please just say your name and address when we unmute you, please. I have Megan Geyer.
Hi, thank you. Good evening, everybody. So I have some questions about the Human Relations Commission or Committee. And sorry, this is Megan Geyer at 29 Highland Drive. Now I know you just introduced the ordinance for forming the HRC. And I know we're going to have public hearing. It sounded like on the next meeting, but I do have some questions around how it will be formed, which we talked about very slightly on the last town council meeting as well. So there's 2 questions or 2 points to this question is one is how are you publicizing the formation of the HRC in order to elicit applications for members and people to take those seats? And then second part of that question is how are you ensuring that however you advertise and elicit those applications that you're being inclusive to kind of new faces, not just the typical group of volunteers and familiar government faces, but really reaching out to like the broader community who might be represented in this commission?
Yes, thanks for the question, Megan. So, Mr. Vignola, actually, I should ask you, I believe this was the ordinance in our packet. Was it available for the public to see the setup of the committee?
It'll be posted after the introduction to the website.
Okay. So this one, Megan, was the first reading. So after tonight's meeting, the setup or the proposed setup will be in the approved council packet, and you can see the makeup of it and then ask questions about that later. So as we said, then in September 14th meeting, that will be the second reading where we will put it up for adoption. And you can certainly ask more questions after that. Subsequent to it becoming a committee, then we will ask for people to submit their citizen leadership application. And then it'll be an appointment for, and we have it in the ordinance that there are we're requesting various stakeholders from the borough to be involved. So yes, I mean, obviously for it to work well, it should be a true cross-section of people from throughout the town.
Okay, great. So then in terms of, you said, and I don't have the exact wording, but you said that you were going to basically ask people to submit submissions. How are you going about asking people? Are you publicizing anywhere? Are you getting the word out? Or is it really more word of mouth than the people we know?
No, once it's adopted at the next meeting, we will make sure to get the word out throughout town. We'll put it on the website. we'll try and I'll put it on my mayor's page. We'll certainly try and promote it as much as possible.
Okay, great. And then the appointees that are chosen, they're chosen by you, Madam Mayor. Is that right?
I believe so. Is that right, Mr. Vignola?
Look,
Vice and consent of the council.
Mayor and council. Yeah.
Okay. And when, according to like the cadence, I know we'll be voting, or you'll be voting on adopting the ordinance next month. So when is the cutoff for the applications, and when will those choices be made? Do you have a timeline for that?
That's a good question. I don't know how. Gabriella, can you help me out with what the process is for the citizen leadership applications and for people to join a new committee?
Absolutely. As soon as we receive the citizen leadership applications, we compile them and send them to the council for their appointment. They can be appointed at the second meeting in September, which I believe is September 28th. We would obviously hope for a full board to be appointed prior to it, so that way they can have a quorum to act. But as soon as we start receiving them, they can be up for consideration. There is a citizen leadership application currently available on the website. It will be updated to reference the Human Relations Committee once we move forward on this ordinance.
Okay, so I'm sorry to just drill home on this, but I want to make sure this is really clear. So the next meeting will be mid-September, and that is going to be when you adopt the ordinance or vote on the ordinance to form the HRC, and then potentially on September 28th, what was said, you could have the selections already?
Potentially, yes. I would say, if not then the next meeting probably. But it's going to take a little while. I mean, we want to make sure that we have enough time to get all the citizen leadership applications in and have enough time to publicize and do that. So I wouldn't guarantee that it would be the 28th, but it would be close thereafter.
No, that's fine. I'm actually glad to hear that. I was a little concerned that was very, very soon. Not enough time to get people.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be, there's not a big rush, I mean, of course we want to do it sooner rather than later, but, we want to have careful consideration and make sure that the sign up for the citizen leadership, as well as the other stakeholders, that we have a chance to get everyone's, input in for that.
Okay, great. And just my last question. I know that there is a difference between committees versus commissions versus councils, and particularly related to something that I believe Sally Miller was bringing up earlier around funding. So can you clarify, is this a human relations committee, commission, council? What is that? And then what sort of budget do they normally get? Or do they get a budget or do they do not? I guess it's really a yes or no question.
Okay. It's a committee, and to be perfectly honest, I'm not sure how it's set up budget-wise. I don't know if anybody can chime in on that. No.
Well, before you talk about the budget and the amount of money that should be allocated or not allocated, the committee should be formed first and find out what their goals and objectives are and what would be the monetary value to obtain those goals.
Right, which is sort of what I said earlier.
It could be training of borough residents you want to put programs on. What would that cost by paying to have somebody come in? Could you get a grant for somebody to come in? This is what the committee is going to have to look at. It's not just, let's form a committee, here's $100,000, go spend it. It's, let's find out what your goals are. What can we do for grants? What can we do for volunteers that come in? What can we do with cooperation with other towns? This all has to be looked at after the committee is formed.
So, yeah, and Ron, that's sort of what I was saying before, how, once the committee's formed, then they can suggest, platforms for that. But I was sort of, to Megan's question, I think she was just looking at where is there a difference between a committee and a commission, which I believe there is.
There is a big difference. There's a big difference.
Right. So for the committee, there's no set budgeted amount for that. So they're all fluid.
Okay, that was my question, whether or not committees or commissions, one gets a set budget, the other one might not. It seems like this is rightfully so, still in the works. So thank you. Those are all of my questions. I appreciate your time.
Thanks.
Next, I have Sally Miller.
Thank you so much. Just to touch on getting the word out, Mayor, I wanted just to ask you, and I'm not sure if you can answer this. I noticed throughout the years the website that the town has is not updated regularly. There's a lot of information missing. This would be a great time to really discuss how, when we talk about getting the word out to the residents, there's a few questions about this. Is there a person responsible in the government who specifically is responsible for updating the website? And if so, how regularly? And when there are committees that are forming, this is the second part of the question. When there's a new committee forming, can these committees be put on the website? So if there's resources and other information, there's more of a reach, because I don't believe that there's an actual there's no social digital accounts associated with Milltown. I know there's a lot of different Facebooks. It's very confusing. So can you talk about that a little bit?
Sure. So, I mean, as far as can things go on the website? Absolutely. I know the Environmental Commission has a page, so there's, I believe maybe the Green Team does, but there's no reason why a committee or any group can't have a presence on there, especially when it's a committee of the Borough of Milltown. As far as the information, I would defer to the one of the people that work there to describe what the process is for getting information on the website. Jeanette or Gabriella maybe could give you a little more information than I could.
Gabriella, you want to take this one?
Sure. Each department is responsible for their own page and the updates to those pages. So every page has been created with assistance to include their information that they saw fit to put on those pages. Some of our departments are more active on the website, and we do assist with the committees who don't have direct access to the webpage. They can submit their documentation to I or Jeanette, the business administrator, for publication on the website. And that's normally how we update it. So we do have boards and committees who do have pages that are updated regularly. And meeting information that's posted on the website also for those, as long as it's submitted.
Thanks. And Sally, when I was talking to Megan and saying it would be on the website, it would be to get the information out, the main page that has news flash or other things, that would be the place to go for something that's just coming out and you want to get the news out to people. So it's not going to be buried on some other department page. If there was something that we were looking to get out information to the public, it would be on the main page.
On the main page. That's great news. Could you just speak a little bit about, there's a lot of Facebook pages. Now, I don't usually go on Facebook myself. I'm not a big fan of going on a lot of pages. I know that there are a lot of different private Milltown pages and Facebook. It's a little confusing to me, quite honestly. I don't even know which ones to join. There are a lot of talk, within the town that some are more positive and negative, and some of them are a bit divisive.
Nothing to do with the Borough of Milltown. They're totally private citizens that run those pages.
Right.
Is it possible then that, I don't know what other towns do as far as having, more, because social media is so prevalent in general, would it make sense for Milltown to create a very positive, unifying social media presence? And if so, how could we do that, through the Chamber of Commerce or through, just so that there's more, communication that's, very unifying?
Mayor, if I could interrupt.
Sure.
I would suggest that is what the committee is being formed for. Let them come up with a great idea. They want to form a page. Maybe that would be some money. If it costs, I don't know what it would cost to set a page up, if there is a cost. But that is what the committee is there for. you're coming back to us asking what we want what the committee to do. The committee should be telling us what they want to do.
I guess is this Ron Dixon?
Yes, it is.
Oh, hi, Ron. Yes, but this is the question prior to that was if the Milltown has been around for so long, there hasn't been any social presence. It's really more of, wouldn't that come from the government, social presence? That would be an official social media presence that would have to be monitored then through the council and the members. This isn't something that would, if you have another committee forming a group, that would then not be appropriate. It would have to be coming from a more cohesive place that would then bypass that, is exactly what I'm saying. It's more.
So you're talking about just the borough social media page.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. So the website, like I said, and thank you, Gabrielle and Jeanette, from what she's saying is sometimes people post, sometimes people don't post. Is this something that we could more like streamline more so it's going through like a social media or, committee or something in the government so we know that the information is going out like live? You have other towns where information is constantly being updated, and this is the information age we're living in. And so people really want to know what's going on and create something that's very positive. That's not something that we have right now. And I don't believe it should come from a committee. I believe that it needs to come from a more centralized position being in the town. No?
I mean, it's something that, to consider. Jeanette, do you have something to say?
Well, I was just going to say that, we really can't just have a Facebook page because of the interaction, because of Oprah laws. That's why we have the website, that we put the information up there. There's mechanisms for you to sign up to get all of the new postings. So you would get notified every time something new gets posted up to the website. And that would be your choice to whether it's news flashes or anything of that nature. You can be sure to get that. We don't have a public information officer on staff to even monitor, I know that some of the larger towns might have a Twitter account or something like that, but we just simply don't have the staff to do that. And again, with the Facebook pages, it's not really something that is appropriate, considering that it could open us up to a liability with Oprah.
Gotcha.
So in other words, they go, it's for information only, what we put, and that's what we use the news flash for, and if to share what's going on in the borough is on the main page.
Is there a link then? I guess the second I understand with the Chamber of is the Chamber of Commerce then linked to anything that has to do with the government on the website, the Chamber of Commerce? Is that like a separate link, a separate place as well?
That's not a borough entity, right?
That's also
right.
Nope.
Yeah.
So the link might be on the website. I'm not sure, but yeah, it's certainly none of the information that comes from there would come from the Borough of Milltown.
Right. I'm just thinking of a way that we could be a bit more cohesive and unifying with all the information so that, the residents feel like they can go to one place or have some more interaction. Does it say on the website, Gabrielle, does it say on the website who to contact in case they want to put something up or pass it by to, so because since everybody's responsible for themselves and there is no public information officer at this time, then who is accountable and the contact for getting information up regularly on the site? Like who's that going through?
So the information on the borough site is specific to borough relations. We do have pages under our community page where organizations and businesses can submit forms if they'd like to be included. And there are notations on that it's not an endorsement to either organization or businesses. And those that information comes directly to the borough through the website. You fill out the form. The same thing happens with our reporter concerns, which also allows for just optional feedback. If it's a committee that's formed by the borough, they can be in contact with either myself, as I said, or to the business administrator for information towards the site. And again, I just want to note that on the website, there is an option as a share to, which is an option for anybody who's visiting our site to share information that we've posted to social media accounts, whether that be Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or similar. All it does is take a link from our site and put it, and you can share it through your own social media accounts, but it isn't creating a social media account for the borough. So it is a way for you to utilize social media through the borough information that we're putting out there. But as far as it goes for our news flashes, our calendars, and the general information on our pages, it is site specific to the operations of the government. And so it's usually the departments that are posting it and finding the pertinent information to put on that they feel necessary.
Okay, and last question, because I don't know. So I thank you for so much time. Quick question. The Nixle comes from where? Because that goes to all the residents, and I know that we don't have a Twitter. So if there's something forming or something really important, like for instance, the voting right now, I'm learning a lot about voting and mail-in voting, and that we have one place that will be open, but it will be more provisional. And we have a definitely older generation in the community, and just in general with mail-in. I feel like that we need to, have a lot of information right now on the front page of what residents can do to vote. It's a very hot topic and a very important one. So without, getting the word out, whether it can't be a Nixle or this or that, how is the town handling that hot topic right now about voting?
Gabriella can answer that.
Yeah.
There is actually on the front page of the borough website, there's a button called Vote 2020, and it has up-to-date information regarding the 2020 elections. As of right now, there's no decisions made on the general election, how it's going to be handled. However, we are encouraging mail-in votes. And as posted on the website, there is a ballot box that we had installed at borough property at the side entrance that you can drop off your mail-in ballots directly to that box, and it doesn't go through the post office. It will actually just be picked up by secure employees from the Board of Elections for processing. As information comes through for the election, we are posting it on the borough webpage, again, under the front page under Vote 2020. It also has direct links to the county for any information that they're releasing. And as we've been making announcements at borough council meetings, Mayor has been giving statements as soon as we're given information for how we're going to proceed. The primary election was at a singular location. However, there's no indication that that's how we'll be continuing for the general election. So I'd hate to comment on it before any executive orders or decisions have been made.
And can you answer about the Nixle too? Because I know there are different Nixles and you can opt in for certain ones. And that's for, an emergency. We get them from the police, we get utility Nixles. How exactly does that work to opt in or opt out of the Nixle?
The Nixle,
can somebody answer that?
You can opt in or out through the Nixle website or through text message. There are multiple departments that are optioning for Nixle, whether that's emergency, police, utilities, or DPW. Okay. You can choose which of those you want to subscribe to or which ones you don't. But again, Nixle is for emergency correspondence.
Thank you.
Got it. Thanks for all the time. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Yes. I have Courtney Williams.
Hi, all. Thank you again for answering my question. Also, just thank you, Gabriella, for answering all those questions about voting. I think that was really helpful for somebody who, is trying to stay abreast with all these kind of moving pieces. And so I think for everybody, that was really helpful to hear. And I've just gone to the website myself and seen that. So that was really helpful. So I just want to thank you for that. So back to my question, regarding the HRC application. And so since it has now been said that we're using the, I believe it's the civic leadership application.
Citizen leadership, yes.
Oh,
yes.
Citizenship leadership application. Thank you.
Yes.
I'm wondering if there's been any consideration to update or improve this application to really get to the core of what this this commission or committee is. To me, and how I'm understanding it, is quite different in terms of makeup. Looking for members. The application is quite short and condenses a lot of information that I think would be important for this application process. So I guess my question is two parts in that. Before we move ahead on having people submit their applications, is there going to be time to review and make sure this is in line with other towns or other places' applications for, commissions, committees like this? But also, what is the process post, a person nominating themselves? I just want to be clear that I understand once somebody submits an application, how do we expect this kind of voting process? Would somebody come up, present like a platform? I just want to be clear on like the logistics of it, really, because this is very new to me.
Right. And it's so the citizen leadership application is just the basic application that everyone does to apply to be considered for any board or committee or commission. So that's done every year. So there's no changing that. But I would say that, I think a lot of it depends on the response that we get, right? If it's, sometimes there's committees that we're struggling to look to get people to join. Others, there may be more interest. So depending on, where we wind up with this, there may have to be some follow up on, the finding out more information. So, the initial stage would be submit your citizen leadership application so that the mayor and council can see, who's interested in becoming involved in that. And then we'll see where we stand after that. But the main application will be across the board, the same as all the other committees where that's the first stab at it.
Okay. And is there any possibility then in the future, if you have, I don't want overwhelming support, that's my hope. That's actually my hope for this, is that there is overwhelming support, how you begin to weed through kind of these applicants under a lens of, race, gender, occupation, education, status, profession. So I'm wondering if that is the intended.
Yes, to be, as I said before, to have the most
diverse
mixed platform so that it's fair for everyone. Yes, so to have a true group that has different perspectives, comes from different walks of life. So yeah, it's meant to be a real cross section of the borough of Milltown.
Perfect. Thank you so much. And that was the only question that I had.
Okay. Thank you.
Dawn Milburn, I had you with your hand raised, but it seems to be lowered. If you wanted
I'm sorry. Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Hi. Thank you. I did have questions about the election. I just wanted to ask, thank you for providing that source. I noticed that when you pull up the Middlesex County elections, it seems to be just discussing primaries. Do you know if they update that on a weekly basis, or because I'm just surprised I don't see anything current on there? And is there someone in Milltown who we can, who is like our go-to person to ask about the election on a local level?
I'll answer that.
You're talking to it. Yeah, go ahead, Gabby.
As the borough clerk, I am responsible for the elections within the borough. The reason there's no updates on the election since primary is because we just certified the primary results. So we are still in the process of completing the work related to the primary, so there's no action yet on the general. And again, as I stated before, since there's no executive order determining how the general election is going to proceed, we also have limited information on where to go from there. However, that does not stop anyone from being able to register to vote or to request mail-in ballots for the general election or for any election therefore. If you do have questions about election, your voter registration status, or your affiliation, please feel free to give us a call at the Borough Clerk's office. Our information is available on the website. You can speak to me or Kathy Beardsley in our office, and we'll be happy to help you.
Okay, and the next, I guess, comment I was going to make was in discussing, it seemed like there was a discussion going on about the purpose of human relations, and I just hope there's no confusion with the purpose of a human relations committee as opposed to people asking how the Borough Council will become a source of public relations for itself as a government. So I just was, I remember I brought up this question, sound like a broken record, I'm sorry, but I brought this before the Borough Council before. Last time I did, it was when Mayor Stieber was in office, and I asked, would the Borough Council consider establishing a public relations committee as part of their regular committees, as I feel it's a very important committee. And I know at that time, Mayor Stieber said that he felt that he was, as a mayor, the representative of public relations. And I just wondered if there would be any, this has been years now, people have been asking this same question for so many years, as Sally seemed to have a lot of questions directed towards that. It just seems like normal for any community, even if it's not Facebook or Twitter, there should be some means of announcing to the public news about our city our borough government and what is happening and what is going on. And that's completely different from the purpose of a human relations committee, which can't fully represent everything that's happening in your civic government. So I'm wondering if any borough council members, since this has been brought to your attention, and some of you actually ran on the platform of being transparent and establishing public relations, would somebody be willing to make a motion to meet as a council and discuss the validity and the worth of having a public relations committee?
So Dawn, I will say that, I like the idea. Thank you. I think that it's, something that we can consider. There's nothing wrong with getting the word out about what the mayor and council are doing. And you're right. We want the more information we get out, the better. The platform for that, we'll have to discuss. But it's something that, as the mayor and council, I think we can certainly, discuss and maybe get back to you at the next meeting, if that's okay.
Sure. I'm just wondering if there's anyone here tonight, presently, who would be willing to make a motion, a formal motion.
Well, I don't think we can do that now.
Can't do that now. Okay.
No.
Sorry. And then the other thing is, I know at the school board, I know there are concerns, of course, about Twitter and Facebook, but I know the school system did come up with a way of reporting things in a way that's legal and safe. It can be done. And I think, Trina, you might have been involved.
Yeah, I was.
So I hope that you will consider some, social media can be done in a safe way.
It's definitely something that we've spoken about. I've spoken about it with Gabriella and Jeanette, and, there are different expectations, as Jeanette mentioned, with Oprah. And so it's a little bit trickier, but it's something that, regardless of what social media we use, we can certainly talk about how and when and in what way the council can communicate with the public. So appreciate you bringing that up.
Again, the last question is, I don't know if you can answer this time, but I have no idea which seats are going to be up for. Which of your seats are up for election and who is running? Can you share that information yet, or is that not established? Which seats, are up and who is choosing to run and what contenders there are? I have none of that information.
What? Gabriella, is that posted somewhere?
The terms of all of our council members are posted on the Borough Council page. So you can always see where everyone's terms are and when they expire. If you would like, I can announce who the candidates are, as I did certify them last week.
Yeah. Sure. Go ahead.
Thank you.
Fine. The seat terms that are up this year are Councilman Ron Dixon and Councilman James Peretti. And the certified results from our election in the primary are that the candidates on the Democratic ticket are Margaret O'Donnell and James Peretti, and on the Republican ticket are, for these positions specifically, are Ron Dixon and John Collins.
Thank you so much for that.
Thank you. Thanks for the question, Dawn.
Thank you. Bye.
Anyone else?
I do not see any more hands raised.
Okay. Seeing no more audience comments, I will close the audience comments and ask for any council comments.
Yes, Madam Mayor, I have one comment I'd like to be allowed to make tonight.
Sure.
Speaking in reference to communication, specifically Nixle alert from the police department. A couple of weeks ago, they sent out a Nixle alert about scammer pavers that would asphalt pave driveways. I'd like to thank the Milltown Police Department because there was approximately, I think, 3 people in Milltown that were in the process of getting scammed by these pavers. And with a little bit of embarrassment, I must say that I was one of them. I'd like to thank specifically our police department, but more specifically Lieutenant Johnson, for coming to my aid, rectifying the situation that I was in. I didn't lose any money or anything along those lines.
Good.
But we were able to get some good pictures of these perpetrators, and we were able to send it off to other municipalities in New Jersey to solve some other cases for them. But the response from our Milltown Police Department was overwhelmingly great, and I appreciate what they've done for me and for this town, the way they go out and take care of us. If it wasn't for that Nixle alert, for the communication of that Nixle alert, I would have never known to contact the police department. So we are communicating and we are getting it done. And I'd like to say thank you very much again to the police department.
Agree. Thanks, Nick.
Mayor?
Yes.
I apologize. There's somebody just raised their hand. Again, owner Intel, would you like to?
Sure, go ahead.
I apologize.
No, that's okay. It's not the easiest to see everyone's hands raised.
Owner Intel is the name on the thing. You have your hand raised, and I've unmuted you.
Yeah, they're just messing with you, Gabrielle.
Same problem. Same.
Okay, I'm gonna lower your hand and mute you then.
Sorry. If you do have a question you just couldn't get through, feel free to email, and someone will get back to you.
I apologize. Sorry, you can continue with council comments.
Oh, any other council members have any comments this evening? Okay, hearing none, I will close council comments, and I will hear a motion for an executive session.
Gabriella, action or no action?
I believe no action, right?
Nothing coming out. Nope.
No action.
I move that the resolution to enter into executive session be approved by council, and that council will enter executive session immediately following the vacation of council. Well, we don't need that. Immediately following the ending of our Zoom participation.
Second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay,
Aye.
so we will now make a motion to adjourn.
No, we're actually.
We don't have to do that? Okay, I'll go right in. Okay, all right. So we'll close to the public now. We'll thank you all for joining us this evening, and we will.
Mayor,
explain to
we're
us.
actually going to go into a breakout room. So I'm going to pull in all the members into a breakout room because we have to come back to the public session at the end, even though there's no intention to take action.
Do we have a few minute break here?
Yes. So you'll be getting a notification from me to join a breakout room.
Okay.
So accept that, and then the council members and those professionals will be brought into the breakout room.
Okay.
Once the executive session ends, we will return back to the public Zoom call for essentially an adjournment.
Okay.
Gabrielle, how are we getting a notification? Through email or